It was a regular sleepy afternoon in a relatively crime-free neighborhood of Grant Road in Mumbai. Not very far from where I grew up, in Churni Road in South Mumbai, the kind of building I spent my entire childhood in, where people live in harmony with some petty fights here and there. But one man took the neighborhood tension to a whole new level on Friday afternoon when he went on a bloody stabbing spree right outside his own house that ended in 3 people dead and 2 injured. One of them is fighting for her life at Harkishan Das Hospital even as we speak. The accused is an unsuspecting, regular, middle-class man in his 50s, the kinds you regularly see in that area. Men with small-time shops sporting a receding hairline, wearing formal shirts over cotton pants and keeping their simple mobile phones in the shirt's upper pockets. Basically someone who you will never feel terrified of. 54-year-old Chetan Ratan Shigala fit this mundane description to the T. But his pathology was 1,000 times more savage and diabolical. Of course, his unsuspecting neighbors learnt about this the hard way only when he went on a killing spree yesterday with a kitchen knife at Parvati Mansion, a rickety 70-year-old building that sits uncomfortably juxtaposed between South Mumbai's imposing high-rises housing sobo elites, the city's fast-paced development, and its old-world charm. Now, this horrific incident was caught on camera, and it shows Chetan Gala violently stabbing 5 of his neighbors that include 2 senior citizens, a 73-year-old man and his 70-year-old wife, and an 18-year-old girl, all of them now dead. The girl's mother is critical and fighting for her life. Now we have this uncut video from a source in the neighborhood, but we cannot show it here. But if enough of you follow us on Twitter on @Ronak Kotecha, then it's a risk we are willing to take. We will post it there if we see there is an audience. But otherwise, use your imagination or wait till someone sends it to you on good old WhatsApp. In both cases though, viewer discretion is strongly advised. Now you may want to sit down for what I'm going to tell you next. According to the police, Chetan was mad at his neighbor for inciting his wife Aruna to leave him and go away. He had been unemployed for a while now, and his family had kind of abandoned him. Yes, his family had cut ties with him and was living just 3 buildings away at the house of Chetan's father, totally unaware of the massacre that their man had unleashed on his own neighbors. Chetan was an introvert. He hardly interacted with anyone in the society. But he did blame his neighborhood couple, especially the 70-year-old Ila Mistry, for inciting his wife to leave him. And this is how he exacted his revenge, by stabbing her ruthlessly in broad daylight till she was no longer breathing. But it's not as cut and dry as you think. The entire incident unfolded pretty much like a horrific crime show we watch on OTT these days. It was sudden yet planned, unnerving and absolutely bone-chilling. It's the stuff nightmares are made of. And we have an eyewitness account, a neighbor who didn't just see this deeply disturbing visual unfold in front of his eyes, but also saw his 10-year-old son come dangerously close to being killed. More on that later, but here's what Jignesh Shah saw. On Friday afternoon, at around 3 p.m, everything was normal, just like it is every day. The day was like any other for 72-year-old Jayendra Bhai Mistry and his 70-year-old wife Ila Mistry, who had just finished lunch and was simply sitting outside their house in the shared balcony, totally unaware of the terror that was going to befall them. They had no idea what is going to happen and were completely taken by shock when Chetan, their neighbor, just came out of his house with a knife in his hand, and before anyone could react, he started attacking his immediate neighbors, Jayendra Bhai and Ila Bain. The old couple was obviously no match for a 54-year-old healthy, middle-aged man who used his full force to easily overpower this old couple. Now Chetan was anyway quite angry with Ila Bain for instigating his wife, so he first started mercilessly stabbing her and then both of them with a large kitchen knife. As per some eyewitness accounts, he stabbed them more than 10 times, leaving no chance for them to survive. Every second was crucial and he was taking their breath away, one stab at a time. But it all happened in a flash, without a moment's notice. The old couple started bleeding profusely. Hearing their cries, some people had gathered below the building, and a 55-year-old domestic help, Prakash Wagmare, who was sleeping nearby, rushed to their help and even tried to intervene. But instead of saving the old couple, he almost got stabbed himself and received knife injuries. However, he managed to save himself holding up a pillow and suffered a minor injury on his stomach. But even as people had started gathering, screaming, shooting and figuring out what to do, Chetan was in no mood to stop this blood. Hearing the commotion, when Jignesh Shah's 10-year-old son Arav came down to the second floor where Chetan Gala lives, he grabbed this little kid as well. But thankfully, he let go of the child immediately. But by now, a huge crowd had gathered below the building. Just then, two first-floor residents, 42-year-old Snehal Brahmbhatt and her daughter Jenil, who was only 18 years old, decided to jump in to rescue the old couple. Jenil and Chetan's daughter actually studied in the same college, while Chetan's wife Aruna and Snehal were also very good friends. But Snehal and Jenil's only fault was that the mother-daughter duo ran up to intervene when Chetan was stabbing the senior citizen couple. But far from saving the two, Snehal and Jenil also became the victims and got stabbed by Chetan. 18-year-old Jenil was fatally injured and died shortly after. As per Rajesh Mohite, a neighbor and a social worker, after being stabbed, Snehal almost rolled down the stairs and was grievously injured, but a neighbor came to her aid. She is currently in a serious condition and her family is praying that she survives. She hasn't been informed that her 18-year-old daughter is no more. In fact, Jenil and the senior citizen couple, the Mistries, who Chetan stabbed first, were all declared dead on arrival at the hospital. The domestic help Prakash Wagmare is being treated at the government-run Nayar hospital. By now, even more people had gathered below the building. They were screaming, swearing, watching and capturing this horrific incident on their phones. Again, we cannot show you the video here due to YouTube's policies, but if enough of you follow us on Twitter, which is on @Ronak Kotecha, then we will upload the uncut version over there. Now, the DB Marg police said that the residents had finally gathered some courage to retaliate with cricket bats and stumps, after which Chetan fled the scene and locked himself up in his house. This is what Deputy Commissioner of Police Zone 2, Dr. Abhinav Deshmukh said. We received a call around 3:30 p.m. yesterday about a man stabbing his neighbors. By the time we reached the spot, he had locked himself in his house and he refused to come out. The drama continued for another 20 minutes, after which the cops threatened to break open the door. He then came out and was overpowered and brought to the DB Marg police station. As per the DCP, Chetan accused his neighbors of indulging in rumor mongering, due to which his entire family left him. As per the police, Chetan was jobless, which caused disputes in his family. Investigation has also revealed that he brought a knife 4 days ago, which the family had taken away, after which he brought a new one, allegedly for self-defense. Now, Chetan is a married man. He is 54-year-old with a family who is now in a state of shock, but at least they are lucky to be alive, unlike his neighbors, many of whom lost their lives. Chetan has a 25-year-old son and 3 daughters. 2 of them are in their teens and 1 is married. The family moved out 2 months ago, leaving an unstable Chetan behind, who clearly was planning to take revenge. And on Friday, his act destroyed 2 families completely forever. According to the police, Chetan Gala used to run a lingerie shop in Bhuleshwar, but has given his property on rent. His son Deepen also works in a small shop which is in Bhuleshwar again. The family moved into the Parvati building in Grant Road some 15 years ago, and today the family's inner turmoil has resulted in a blood-curdling and terrifying murder spree that we are sure is going to haunt this neighborhood for many years to come. Chetan was produced in the Girgaon Metropolitan Magistrate Court on Saturday, which is today. Now, what are your thoughts on this disturbing story? For me, it has rattled me because I can totally identify with the victims here. In fact, I feel the victims and the accused are someone I know. Just the kind of people I grew up around. We all think we know people, we know what's going on in their mind. But it is stories like these that make us question everything and everyone we believe in. It shakes up the very foundation of our understanding of a person, his behavior, his psyche, and the extent to which he can go if his buttons are pushed. Who could have thought that petty gossip, unwanted meddling in a neighbor's life, and mindless rumor mongering could become so toxic that a family leaves a man alone who acts out his frustration in such an irreversibly gruesome manner? Who could have anticipated this, and as always, who could tell if this is the only reason why Chetan Ratanshi Gala, an everyday man who could be walking past you every second, would commit such an extraordinary crime? So is there more than what meets the eye? That's the big question. But for now, let us know your thoughts in the comments. You can directly tell us on Instagram and on Facebook. It's @ReviewRon. It's @Ronak Kotecha on Twitter. We have already posted one video of this story of Chetan being taken away by police, and a short brief of the story as well, but we will be posting the entire uncut video if enough of you follow us over there. Otherwise, it's not worth the risk. Of course, you can continue to like, share and subscribe if you find it all worth it. But as always, even if you don't do any of these things, thank you so much for watching this one. Please take care of yourself and those around you. Jai Hind.